Hello, my name is Dr. Mary O'Kane and I'm a lecturer in psychology and education with the Open University. I'd like to thank Donegal Libraries first of all for inviting me to speak to you today in this little video called Don't Be a Second Chicken about supporting anxious children. The video is part of the Healthy Ireland in Your Library series. Over the 13 libraries in Donegal, just to be aware, they're all involved in the Healthy Ireland at Your Library, and there are more than 120 different books on physical well-being, on emotional well-being, healthy eating, available as part of the series. Plenty more ebooks available as well, and many of the libraries will be having events as part of this series. So do drop into your own local library and have a little word with them about what's available. Okay, so this little video is about supporting our children who are struggling a little bit with anxiety. And the title, Don't Be a Second Chicken, comes from looking at our responses as parents to our children's anxiety and how we support them. So the first thing to say is just to briefly explain a little of the science behind what children are feeling when they're anxious. And anxiety is something that, first of all, is good. It's something we all experience from time to time. But when our children are struggling with anxiety, it can be a huge issue in their lives. And it comes from a little part of our brain called the amygdala in the centre of our brains. And the amygdala is our body's little alarm system. It is a little protective device determined to keep us safe. So say back in hunter-gatherer times, if I was out hunting and there was a rustle in the bushes, before I have time to turn my head and look at what might be there, the amygdala has registered threat. So it's our body's alarm system to threat. When it registers any threat, be it real or perceived, it causes changes in our bodies. So if our children are feeling anxious, their body is feeling under threat, the amygdala sends messages throughout the body to prepare to fight or flight. So your child might, their arms might feel slightly shaky, or their legs, because blood is pumping through their body in case you have to bite or in case you have to run. Their heart is pounding because the blood is pumping. There are chemicals, adrenaline, cortisone flowing through your body, and it is your body's response trying to protect you, trying to keep you safe. However, for some children, it's as if this alarm system is just set a little bit too high. I can give you an example of roller coasters. If you can imagine a little brother and sister on a roller coaster, and they go round the roller coaster, and the sister absolutely loves it, and the little boy is frightened of this roller coaster. When they come off that roller coaster, that little girl is going to run off the roller coaster and she'll say to her dad, "This was wonderful, I love it, can I run to the back of the queue and go again?" Her little brother is going to come off the roller coaster and say to his dad, "That was awful, it was awful. My belt wasn't tight enough, I thought I was going to be flung from it. I could hear noises, I could hear this metal noise, I thought, it's going to fall, we're going to fall." They both had the same experience. The roller coaster ride was the same, but they have both processed it very differently. And it's as if for our children who struggle with anxiety, this little amygdala, this little warrior that's keeping them safe, is just heightened in the face of danger. He's on alert. So, what's the whole idea of being or not being the second chicken? Well, this idea comes from a book called The Opposite of Worry by a man called Lawrence Cohen. An excellent book, by the way. You might want to pop into your library and see if they have a copy available. And within this book, Lawrence Cohen talks about how chickens respond to threat. So, as I was saying, our children respond with fight or flight, but there is actually a third option, and that's freeze. And Lawrence says that if a chicken is under threat, it doesn't fight, it doesn't flight, its natural instinct is to freeze. And we call this tonic immobilization. So if there's a threat, a chicken will freeze. If it sees a vulture, flying overhead, it will freeze. And it's like playing possum. It's playing dead. No chicken here. No chicken to be seen. I'm just a rock. And it freezes. Lawrence Cohen did a study of tonic immobilization in chickens. And he found if a little chicken is frozen and another chicken comes along up to that first chicken and sees that first chicken has frozen, the second chicken doesn't have to see that vulture overhead. It sees the first chicken is under threat and it freezes too. It's something wrong here. I'm going to freeze as well. But he timed how long chickens freeze for. And if one chicken is under threat, it would freeze for approximately a minute. If a second chicken comes along, the two chickens will freeze for up to 5 minutes. However, he found, if another chicken moseys along and doesn't notice this first chicken, moseys along and walks past, the first chicken sees an apparently happy chicken, unfrozen, and he relaxes. So the moral of the story is think about how you respond to your child who is feeling anxious, and be careful what sort of chicken you're going to be. You don't want to be that second chicken who comes in and causes that first chicken to freeze for even longer. As a parent with a child who struggles with anxiety, I can absolutely relate to this, because we need to think about how we respond. And very often we will parent our anxious children in a more anxious way. So if we step back and instead of responding with anxiety to our anxious child, if instead we show empathy, but also show calm confidence, we are in a much better place to support that child, and they are more likely to be less anxious. So that can involve, if your child is feeling anxious, saying something like, I can see you're really worried about that, but I know that this will be fine because. So it's, I can see you're upset by this. I can see that you're looking very worried. So you're showing empathy, but there's always the but. And after the but, you express your confidence in the child's ability to do this. You express your confidence because you've seen them handle these situations before. You express confidence because you know they have the skills to deal with this situation. So it's empathy followed by confidence. And it's just reminding us not to be that second chicken. Another tip before I go, when our anxious children are in that state of fight or flight, one of the things that is scientifically proven to absolutely help them and send a message back to the amygdala that all is well. Don't worry, little warrior, everything is okay, is what we call controlled breathing. With young children, we sometimes call it belly breathing. It's not just normal breathing, it is breathing right down into your tummy. We teach this to young children by getting them to lie on their back and maybe putting a little cuddly toy on their tummy. And as they breathe in through their nose, breathe right down into their tummy, into their belly. And if they see their little breathing buddy rise, they know that they're breathing into their tummy rather than into their chest. When we're feeling anxious, most of us breathe into our chests. If we can breathe down into their tummy, and if they practice this again and again on a daily basis, keep practicing it when they're calm, when they are feeling anxious, it will have become a learned behaviour, and they will be able to breathe down into their tummy, which will help them send back the message to that little amygdala that all is well. So I hope this little video has been of some help to any parents who have a child that struggles with anxiety. And do remember to drop into your local library in Donegal, have a word with them about the Healthy Ireland series. Some wonderful books available. That book I mentioned is by Lawrence Cohen, The Opposite of Worry. Might be worth having a little look. Thank you very much.